Welcome back, all my 40K fanatics out there. I'm DJ here with Tim's Nation to bring you my list that's going to be taking on Lane in our next battle report. All right, got that out of the way. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm playing Necron characters yet again. I've seen how many times I've played. I played this list quite a bit recently. And that is because this is where I'm getting some of the practice games in. And this weekend, we're traveling. Lane and I are going to refugee games. Well, he's traveling. I could hop on a bicycle and ride to it because it's very, very close. But we're going to a GT. We're going GTing, refugee gaming, locally for me, very close. Love it. And we're going to play some Warhammer. And I'm taking Necron characters. So this will be the last practice game I get in. Win, lose, or draw, I am locked in. We are playing Necron characters. That's it. So after this, we'll be moving over to some other builds. But to all my cronies out there, I got some stuff I want to mess with Necrons. As I mentioned in my other video, there's some lists I want to try and awaken. And of course, with the Canoptic point drop, there's a lot of scrapped designs for things I've been interested in trying that now I have the points to fit the last pieces in to the puzzle that I'm interested in getting here on the channel and getting out here and giving some tests to. So Necrons will see some love. Also, the AdMech and the robots, all that stuff. There's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that I'm looking forward to playing in the near future after we pass this hump and pass this tournament with this GT that I'm very excited to be traveling to, you know, in the sense of the word traveling. All right, so Necron characters. This has been a list I've been running for a while, so we're going to change up kind of how I'm doing things with this one. We're not going to go through every single individual model and break everything down like we traditionally do with these army videos. I have a couple of those on the channel already. If you want, please, I implore you, go take a look at one of those. I go over the units individually and the models in detail there. But because we've done it so many times, I want to do it a little bit differently for this one. So I want to show you the army, which is now tournament ready, that I'm going to be playing this weekend. Give you the quick rundown of it, kind of like we would do in one of our battle reports. And then we're going to talk about just all in all, again, how this list functions, why I like this thing so much, and how some of the matchups go. And that should be about it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the list first. I'll show you it. And we're battle ready, baby. Let's take a look. All right, so here it is, Awakened Dynasty, all characters. Still needs a cool nickname. Haven't gotten the one that just resonates for me to go, yes, that's what we're going to call this thing. So as I said, we are battle ready. All of our models are painted, 3-color minimal. All of our arm models are based. They're ready to go. And it's time. So you may notice some of my bases are purple, some are not. Apparently, there was a little bit of air that got into my purple paint. And when I went to sit down and start painting them, we ran into a little brick of paint like in the bottom of it. It was solidified. So I'm going to go pick up some purple paint and try and knock out a couple more of these and get these guys situated. But we are street legal. We're ready to go. So this list is the Silent King, 2 Catacomb Command Barges. We have, which this game I'm going to be using them as the Staff of Light still on those guys, just to have the shooting threat. I thought about switching them back over to an Overlord's Blade for dev wounds and the damage. But I don't see them getting there that frequently. They kind of hang out back. So instead, I'm just going to let them continue to have the shooting threat to just have that little bit of extra damage from range that they can pick up. We have 2 Hexmark Destroyers, one of which has the Veil of Darkness, 2 Locust Lords with Nanoscarab Caskets for a 5-up Feel No Pain, 3 Scorpek Lords, one of which is going to have the 4-up Feel No Pain from the enhancement. We have 2 Psychomancers for some leadership shenanigans. Illuminator Xeris, who is able to get lone up when he's close to a Necron unit. Super cheap, super durable, super amazing. We have 3 Plasmancers, some good mortal wound output that comes off of them. And last, 3 Overlords. And these 3 Overlords are coming equipped with Tachyon arrows. So that's the list. We've seen it all before. It's this list I've been running for a while because I like how a lot of these go. Now, some people like all characters. They go, well, why not C'tans? C'tans to me are too slow. Yeah, I say this as I have Necron Overlords that move 6 inches. But Necron Overlords aren't, or 5 inches, 6 inches. Necron Overlords aren't 300 points. So, and they also have a really nifty once per game Tachyon Arrow Spear. All right, let's get that rolling. And I love that Tachyon Arrow Spear. Keeping them near the Silent King, they're able to get the reroll ones to hit and wound to make those arrows, that one shot they get, a little bit more accurate. What I like with the Overlords, they're not that fast. They don't move that far, as we alluded to. But what they are is super durable for late game. So these guys have a 2-up save, a 5-up toughness 5, and a 4-up invuln. They reduce damage by 1 inherently. That's what they do. And if you spend you activate a stratagem with them, they can reduce the CP cost down to 0. So late game, if they get sniped or get taken out and they're on an objective for a 0 CP, I can stand them back up using the strat on those guys and conserve my CP for something in the fight phase that might fall and do the same thing. They're very, very good at holding those back. A couple of the recent games, I tried moving them forward for the same opposite aspect, so I tested it and didn't like how it worked out because I thought by moving them forward, since I can use the strat to reanimate a character on those guys to do it for free, why not bait my opponent into hitting them and I can conserve CP by bringing them back up? That actually didn't work out as much as I liked it to. It gave my opponent something to leapfrog off of. And really, in the end, they still end up hitting the other things. Now, granted, Lane knows my list very, very well. But even so, it didn't quite work out the way. So I think I'm going to keep the Overlords and stick with them, kind of holding the backfield objectives and doing that stuff. And the other thing is that I didn't really have anything safely holding my home field objective. So as I started to move and do other stuff, I felt very tethered with some of these units because I ended up dropping my hex mark in or I dropped something else in there. So I was like, well, I need to protect this single Plasmancer on this home objective because he can't stand up to something simple coming in from reserve, where an Overlord could. An Overlord could stand up to that and would need more to hit him to take him down than the Plasmancer. So I think that we need to go back to that role, and I need to go back to that, and it'll be fine and efficient there. The Scorpek Lords and the Locust Lord. Scorpek Lords do impact damage for mortal wounds when they charge. Great. Awesome. They're flat 3 damage and they hit like trucks. Beautiful. They're 90 points. They did go up in points, but they're still trucks. Toughness 7, 7 wounds. And the one that has the 4-up Feel No Pain, he's like a mini Illuminator Xeris. They are infantry, so I can target them and bring them back up when they fall. And they're fast enough to keep that pressure. Them combined with the Locust Lords turn into a very, very devastating combo. The Locust Lords have a 5-up Feel No Pain because typically we take them with the Resorbs. Well, Resorb doesn't work because he's not leading a unit. So if I take the Nanoscarab Casket, the other warrior option, now they're toughness 6 with 6 wounds, 3-up, 4-up, and a 5-up Feel No Pain. Super durable there. Their ability is when they're targeting a unit that is below its 50%. They get full rerolls to hit and wound, and they have a dev wound weapon in combat. Makes these guys very, very strong and very solid at being able to just smack things in combat and just rip them off the table. So to finish things off in combat. So them paired with the Scorpek Lords, the Scorpek Lords can do damage, and he finishes very nicely. They work well separately with those guys. They work well in tandem, the two of them. So they're very durable in their own right. Catacomb Command Barges play kind of a main healer role in this list. Because of how the Resurrection Orb works, and it works at the end of any phase, I can move him up and target something and heal it. Or after something gets shot at, one of the things that I've liked doing that's happened a couple of times is like a Scorpek Lord gets hit and softened up, and he's got 3 or 4 wounds remaining. Now my opponent's going to charge to finish him off. But I pop the Resorb on that Scorpek Lord to heal it for D6, and suddenly he's back at full health, and my opponent is charging into a Scorpek Lord that has full health, and now he doesn't have the damage output to take him down, and the Scorpek Lord comes back, and anyone else nearby can then charge and get that guy out of combat. Turns out to be a lot more reliable when that Scorpek Lord's at full health. So Catacomb Command Barge, because of its Resurrection Orb, since it's a vehicle and a character vehicle, it can't lead any unit. So the way it works is it targets an infantry or mounted unit at the end of any phase. So the Locust Lords can get hit by this. And it just hits them for D6 wounds or D6 reanimation. So it heals them for D6. It also gives me +1 OC, which is big for being able to help me hold objective markers in some scenarios and situations when we were working with the, what do you call it? The Imperial Knights. When I was playing into them, I told Lane we have this back the setup, and he was holding an objective and asked me, "Hey, do you?" I asked him, "Hey, what is your OC on there?" And he kind of, like most Knight players do, he kind of scoffed it. I was like, he's like, I mean, I have this on this much. I'm like, well, I have these guys here that are 2 OC, but then the Catacomb, I'm giving them 3 OC, plus this unit here, plus this. And when we started to add it all up, it was like, it actually mattered. And Lane's like, oh, wow, I do still control this, but I'm only up on you by like 1 or 2. That's really close. And that mattered for things like the Psychomancer, for where I'm going to target with them to try to battle shock. Psychomancers are a wild card. As we move away from the Catacomb Command Barge and its 3 OC that it brings to help hold objectives, it's perfect to go right into them. So the Psychomancers, I run 2 of them. And they have a out of line of sight ability. They don't need to see the target. They just need to target a unit within 18 inches, and that unit takes a battle shock at -1, and it's done at the beginning of any phase. So an objective that I may not be holding, but I have a unit on, I could end up scoring points on it by just having the Psychomancer go, you know what? Make that unit take a battle shock, -1. And if you fail it, that's a 5-point swing right there. Could be huge, can be huge. And it happens more frequently than you expect. That's why I run 2 of them, because I can now double up the targets on there, or I can move one more aggressively to get an additional -1 to it if they're close enough. Psychomancers can still do actions while utilizing this ability, and we can do it at the beginning of any phase. So I can do it at the, if I'm not in position and then I move, and I can be in position to hit something that I might want to shoot or charge, I can battle shock that and prevent stratagems from being used on it, which change a lot of defensive maneuvers when suddenly strats can't be used on that unit. So a lot of value out of those guys. So we have our damage, we have our push, we have units that are doing this. These units that we're spending points on have wounds, toughness, and durability comparable to most MSU 5-man squads. They're just characters in that aspect. Plasmancers do really good damage. Plasmancers have the mortal wound output to be able to look at something and go, I roll 4 dice, 4 ups, you take mortal wounds. That helps to really start picking things off, especially with the Locust Lords floating there, because then if I hit something just enough to bring it below 50, that Locust Lord can come in there and full rerolls hit, full rerolls to wound, with a dev wound weapon that's flat 2 damage. He can do some work and pick some things up that may not have normally been, he may not have been in his weight class to pick up initially. Talk about them, just running through everything real quick. Illuminator Xeris, how much can I say about this guy? He's amazing. He's got lone op when he's within 3 inches of a Necron unit. I have plenty of those. He is an infantry unit, so he can stand back up with the strat. Toughness 8, 9 wounds, 2 up, 4 up, 4 up, feel no pain. It takes forever to take him down. And a lot of times there's a lot of armies and a lot of players that will see him, see where he's moving, and just not even bother with him. Just go, you know what? That's fine. He can go there. He can do that. I'm going to go over here because that's not worth my time at all. Once you get by the lone op and then you get close enough and other things have been removed, he starts to become such a durable nightmare that it's just like he's not doing that much damage. He got 36-inch range with his gun, which is crazy, for 3 shots that are 3 damage. Amazing there. But it starts to get to a point that it's just like you just leave him alone in some armies that just can't take him down. A lot of times Lane goes after him just out of sheer spite because it's gotten to a point that Lane's like, no, I want to destroy him. That's it. All I want to do is make sure he is off the table. And then when he resurrects, he starts healing for his reanimation protocol. Again, he's infantry, so I can smack him with the Catacomb Command Barge if I even wanted to as well. Last piece that I think I didn't talk about yet is the Hex Mark Destroyers and the Silent King. So Hex Mark's very simple. They deep strike. They're a very small base. I can get them where I need them to score secondaries. One has the Veil, so I can pick him back up and put him somewhere else for other late game shenanigans. That's a roll. They have lone op, so wherever I put them, if you're not within 12, you can't shoot at them. So there's some reliability behind that. And they're characters. So you shoot them down, not take something else out, spend 1 CP, stand him back up, and he's still there to score points if I need to. If I'm still sitting on behind enemy lines, could come up or engage in all fronts, that might be worth it to do that if I haven't seen those cards yet and I need something like that. Or recover assets, establish locus. Some of those cards, if it's like I haven't seen them, it's like, okay, those might be coming up here. This might be worth a CP to now turn a 2-point card into a 5-point card. But yeah, and I don't think I touched on this very much. The Scorpec Lord that I run, he does have that 4-up Feel No Pain. So the Scorpec Lord, one of them has a 4-up Feel No Pain. That turns him into like a mini Illuminator Xeris and gives me a lot more power on both flanks. He is less toughness, less wounds, and a 3-up save instead of the 2-up Xeris brings. But you still have a high toughness at toughness 7, high wounds at 7 wounds, a 3-up, 4-up invuln, we're still on that, and then the 4-up Feel No Pain to just shrug stuff off. Also a character that can stand back up, and a little more violent in combat than Xeris is. 1, with the impact damage is a big one, and 2, he has a couple more, 1 more attack than Xeris does. Now, Xeris has a little pokey feet as extra attack for 4 more attacks there, but, I mean, let's be real here. With this list, we're looking at those 3 damage weapons. All right, last, the big boy himself, the Silent King. So the Silent King, most of the time I'm looking at my opponent and saying, okay, the Silent King has and this is kind of a good bit of etiquette that helps out. Most players are cool with this. I just look at it and say, okay, so the Silent King is on the reroll 1s to hit and wound aura, and he will remain on that unless I say different. That usually just keeps a little bit of bookkeeping out of it. You know, that's where he's going to sit. Death Guard, there's a possibility of me going into ignore modifiers. Big boost that can come from that. Very rarely do I go into the combat one. I think it's happened once where there was a time where I was like, let's go into this because this is advantageous to the scenario I was in. But typically, it's staying in those 2, and most of the time it's reroll 1s to hit and wound. Now, if that's all I was taking him for, the King wouldn't be worth it. But the King's damage output is very good. Now, he's nothing really in my army is set to just go, okay, this is going to take down a big knight. This is going to take down a land raider or anything of those sizes, those bigger things. With knights dropping in toughness, it helps with the King. But combat-wise and shooting-wise, he's going to struggle with those. Now, with the strength 6 weapons being able to wound on 5 is a little bit better because he does have some of those. But all in all, where he comes into a factor is all that mid-range targeted stuff. He's a gunboat, and he can shred through so many things that fall in kind of that mid-range category. Looking at you, like even toughness 6 units, say he's wounding them on 4s, he can still shred through them. And then when he gets to the combat aspect, he continues to be able to shred through. He will struggle into tough targets that he would need to punch up into. He cannot really punch up into any targets. So that's where we kind of sit with him. He needs to be able to do that work. When we go into the bigger targets that we need to punch up into, Knights can bring multiple of those bigger targets where a lot of other armies might have just one. It really just comes down to the pacing of the game. If that target is in the center, that might cause me a little bit, that might make me not want to go to center as much and play more on the flanks. If that target is staying back and holding backfield, that's probably more dangerous, because if it's a long range threat, now I really have to watch as it's going to be picking things off. So I'm going to have to play the terrain very nicely. If they rush these big things into my face, then I'm going to have to try to figure out a way to isolate, hit one really hard, and get rid of it quickly. I have the damage output to do it. You know, one of the things that it comes together with it all is when all of a sudden all these little cogs in this machine go, all right, there's a big knight there, it's got to go away, and they all interlock and just do it. The tachyon arrows, they're once per game, but that's the time we need them. Silent King and the big rocks that he's shooting, plasmancers and being able to kick out mortal wounds, and then depending on what's left, we make our decision. Do the Scorpex charge in? Do we try and just impact damage and crack this thing out of there? And if we can get it below 50%, I have Locust Lords that can run up and get more wounds in. So we do possess the position of just going, okay, there's something big, annihilate it. If it gets too aggressive with me, things that stay back, those are the scary things because I'm going to have to play the game. Now, on a positive aspect for that, I can dedicate a lot less on an objective to take it. And if you shoot that unit down, it pops back up. We've seen this with the World Eaters and that the Bloodletter stratagem that allows you, oh, you destroyed a unit. Okay, I'm going to bring a squad of Bloodletters here. And the power that can be used with that, this is similar. You destroy the unit, I spend a command point, stand it back up. Now, unless you charge and finish him off, I'm holding that objective and scoring those points. And if you do charge and finish him off, now I have other things behind that can come back in there, take over, and start doing damage on my terms. That's a lot of how it'll play, especially into these night matchups. So hopefully that'll work out. Again, I say it a bunch of times because I love the saying and I feel it's true. Everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face. And boy, howdy, Canis Rex is looking to punch a lot of people in the face. So we'll see how that goes. But there it is. We'll be playing against Lane. We'll see how this goes. And then we'll be packing up and getting ready for this weekend. All right, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.